Today, I'm going to bring you guys top 9 stories that I'm going to be talking about. But before I give you the stories, please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to my videos. I am your humble host, Save Our Children TV, and today we're going to top 9 stories. The first story we're going to talk about is a story that I did not ever do. But the story happened. You might remember it. It happened last. I believe it happened. Let me see. It happened last year in 2021, and it happened back in 2021 on September the 28th. So it been 1 year yesterday since this happened, and this is the story of 8-year-old 8-year-old Fanta Ability. I'm going to read the article here, and this story is out of Pennsylvania. So PA takes the nail. Um, Here's the article. The Friday night high school football game had just finished. 8-year-old Fancyability and her older sister were leaving the field in Sharon Hill, PA, when gunshots erupted in the street nearby. As the crowd scrambled for a cover, 3 police officers monitoring the exit drew their service weapons and returned fire. Authorities said Fanta was killed when a round struck her neck. Her sister and 2 others were injured in the hail of bullets. In the month since the August 27 shooting, police have not arrested suspects or named the officers involved, prompting outcry from several right leaders and community members who accuse authorities of slowing the investigation of the shooting that killed a young black girl. On Monday, the prosecutor handling the case announced that his office has determined with near certainly that police fired the shots that killed Fanta and wounded the others, raised, raising the possibility that the officers could face charges. Delaware County District Attorney Jack Stolstener said investigators were reviewing whether the officers who have been placed on administrative duties broke the law by using deadly force. He also petitioned for a grand jury to consider evidence presented by his office, a tool prosecutors often turn to when witnesses are not cooperating. Strothmer said he met with the girl's family members Monday to update them on the progress. He cautioned that the grand jury, once impaneled, could take weeks or more to complete its work. I understand the community's desire for closure. Stolzner said in a statement by asking staff for continued patience as we work to provide justice and accountability for all the victims of this tragedy. The Sherman Hill Police Department did not respond to a request for comment on Tuesday. The shooting in the majority black work class Philadelphia suburb rekindled anger over policing that radical racial justice advocates says is all too common in communities of color nationwide. After weeks with few updates from investigators, members of the Delaware County Black Caucus nonprofit organization gathered at the shooting site this month to demand answers. We have to be able to justify why a police officer or anyone that was shot in a crowd of black and brown children, said NAACP Derby area President Shawya Carter, a former police officer. According to the Philadelphia Inquirer, we need to know why this happened in our community. Bruce Castor, an attorney for Fanta's family, said relatives were left in dark as the investigation progressed. The district attorney's announcement Monday helped elevate some of the concerns he told the Washington Post. They left the courthouse following the district attorney's doing all that he can do, Castor said. In his announcement, Stolzmer said the shooting at Academy Park High School started with a verbal confrontation among a group of young males about a black from main entrance of football field. As the gunfire rang out in the street, a car rounded the corner and passed in front of the officers assembled nearby. The gunfire combined with the movement of the vehicle precipitated responsive gunfire from the Sherman Hill police officers, he said. Investigators recovered a .45 caliber and 9 mm shell casings from the scene. More details from forensic reports are forthcoming, Stolzmer said. In addition to representing Fanta's family, Castro is working with the family of the teen boy who was injured in the shooting, as well as the passenger of the car that drove by officers opened fire. He said the passenger and the driver were cut by glass that shattered when bullets pierced the window. He said the district attorney told him about 25 shots were fired. Some of those bullets passed through and missed the car and struck the spectators, said Castro, a former longtime prosecutor in Pennsylvania. It's really is a miracle that nobody else was killed. Investigators have identified suspects and others involved in the incident. According to the district attorney, it is our expectation that further investigation will lead to the arrest of the individuals involved, Stonester said. The district attorneys also noted that Sean Hill, an outside attorney, and former prosecutor Kelly B. Hodge of Fox both chaired law firm to review the Sharon Hill Police Department policies and procedures related to the deadly force. Castro said the family was unsatisfied on the response from Sharon Hill officials. The fans told Sean Hill and police and government they are sour, he said. They don't believe Sean Hill has kept the community informed and them informed of what efforts they're making to improve the procedures and policies other than hiring the person we suggested they hire. If investigators find and defin- definitively that police really shot Fanta, the girl would become the 12th person under the age of 18 to die in a police shooting this year, according to Tracking Bedpost. Officers have shot and killed 11 minors in 2021. Maybe that again. Officers have shot and killed 11 minors in 2021. The Post database shows the youngest was 13. Now, there's an update to the case. As of January 21st, 2022, there's been an update to the case. 3 Pennsylvania police officers fired for fatal shooting of 8-year-old Fanta Belletti. 3 Pennsylvania police officers were fired Thursday after being charged this week in the death of 8-year-old Fanta Belletti. So these are the 3 officers who are now behind bars. Hold on. Give me a second. Let me fix this. There are 3 officers who are now behind bars for the shooting death of 8-year-old Fanta Belletti. One of the officers is black, and the other 2 is white. Now, let I'm gonna get my question of the article. Okay, again, 3 Pennsylvania officers were fired Thursday after being charged this week in the death of 8-year-old Fanta Belletti. Fanta was killed in August when the officers fired dozens of shots at a car moving through a crowd after gunfire broke out in a high school football game. Fanta was okay. I can read that. Three Pennsylvania police officers were fired Thursday after being charged this week in the death of 8-year-old Fanta Ability. Fanta was killed in August when officers fired dozens of shots at a car moving through a crowd after gunfire broke out near a high school football game. The Shun Hill Burial Council voted 6-1 Thursday to fire Brian Devani, who was 31, Sean Dolan, who was 25, and Devin Smith, who was 33. The vote sparked outbursts from the crowd at the meeting. The firing comes after District Attorney Jack Stollsteimer announced Tuesday that the Delaware County Grand Jury had recommended charges of voluntary manslaughter and reckless endangerment for the August 27 shooting. Bail was set at $500,000 unsecured for each officer, and a preliminary hearing was set for January 27th in Springfield District Court. The entire Burial grieves for Fant's ability, and we again convey our deepest sympathies to her family and everyone affected by the shooting, Council President Tanya Allen said in a statement released after the vote. Now that the grand jury has concluded its investigation and given the serious charges issued by the district attorney, we are able to move forward with measures that hold the officers accountable. Fanta was killed August 27 when police opened fire while responding to a shooting that sent spectators, players, and coaches scrambling for cover after a high school football game in Shun Hill, Pennsylvania. The game had just finished between Pennsbury and Academy Park High School. About a block away, an argument between a group of young men escalated and gunfire as crowded exited the stadium. Authorities said 2 shots were fired in the direction of the police officers, who were near the stadium exit. The police officers then discharged service weapons in the direction of the Academy Park football field. The Delaware County District Attorney's officers said police fired 25 shots. Police fired 25 shots at a car that was driving past the stadium and hit 4 people, including Fanta and her 12-year-old sister. Investigators later determined the vehicle was not involved in a nearby shooting. They picked the wrong target. They shot in the wrong direction at it, and they shot Although prosecutors initially said police likely fired the fatal shots, the teenagers involved in the initial fight were charged with first-degree murder in connection with Fanta's death in November. An investigation later confirmed that police were responsible for killing Fanta and injuring 3 others. Stoltzman also said Tuesday that the murder charges related to Fanta's death were dropped against the 2 teenagers, a 16-year-old and Hasten Strand, 19. When I believe those defendants should be held accountable for starting the series of events that ultimately led to Fanta Ability's death. Developments during the grand jury investigation render it appropriate to withdraw these charges at this time, Stoltzman said in a written statement last week. Activists and civil rights lawyers exonerated Stoltzman over what they called his desperate treatment of 2 black teenagers who faced charges that could put them away for life, and officers who fired the guns in an area crowded with people. Stoltzman said the officers were charged with manslaughter, not third-degree murder, because there was no evidence of malice. Now, on Tuesday, Strand pleaded guilty to aggravated assault for his role in wounding one of the children and 2 illegal possession of firearms. He will serve between 32 and 64 months in prison, according to the district attorney's office. The 16-year-old is still facing charges for his attempt to kill Strand, according to the release. Now, this is, let me go down to it. Sorry for the lighting. But this right here is 8-year-old Fantability, if you can see right there. Now, let me make one thing clear. If a black man who was not a police officer, just a regular black man, decided to shoot in the opening and that bullet struck and killed the child, they would have wanted first degree murder. Again, these three officers shot at a vehicle that wasn't even involved and still got away with manslaughter charges. And for that black officer who was also out there shooting, the 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 fact that you shot and killed one of your own, the same skin complexion as you, and shot and killed a child and injured people, innocent bystanders. This right here, if I was the district attorney, filing prosecution, will ultimately chose first degree premeditated. And if I couldn't get a murder charge, I would went with this: first degree premeditated vehicular homicide. I'm at first degree premeditated manslaughter. Because the fact that 25 shots in total were fired from that gun is beyond me. To shoot that many times in a crowd it's dangerous. There was children out there playing. You had no disregard for children. Okay, you weren't shot that many times, or you weren't shot at all. First of all, the proper procedure would have been calling the SWAT department. Could have called the SWAT team. Could have got the SWAT out there. You could have got, shells and body armors and all that. You got to use a deadly weapon and shoot 25 times, injuring and killing people over a fight at a football game. Hold on, give me a second. Okay, here we go. So, okay. Somebody please let me know why would it be appropriate to be shooting, right, in the direction of an 8-year old? Anyways, it's called reckless. It was reckless, and these officers needs to be held accountable, and they should also be charged with tampering with physical evidence because ultimately it caused two innocent people to be going to jail and charged with murder for the crime that they did not commit. And they're charged with drop, so it's called tampering with evidence. They knew what they did and shifted the blame onto other people. Those officers need the next 25 years in prison, the next 30 years in prison, the next 40 years in prison. This was heinous. It was uncalled for and injustice. It was stupid to be shooting in the same capacity of children and people. There's no need to be shooting a gun 25 times at a vehicle. And then the bullet ricocheted and flew and hit not only accountability, but also hit her sister and other people. So it was reckless endangerment times 2, 3. Now, when this story first happened, we're gonna have people like me, right? You didn't have people really speaking about this particular story. And for those other channels who advocate for children, I think it was only 2 channels who ever covered this particular story on the channel. And it was me and I believe me and AFC Podcast. I don't think I've seen anybody else reporting this story. I might have seen a few here, a few there. But there should be a lot of people who advocate for children needs to be talking about this story and advocating for accountability who can no longer speak or advocate for yourself. And we need to spread what we call awareness. Okay, we seeing too many innocent children killed behind recklessness, careless, and demonic people. Those officers' intentions were to use deadly force. When you use your service weapon to shoot someone, it's considered deadly force. You just don't shoot somebody and injure somebody. You shoot them and you do damage. And apparently these officers was not thinking before putting that weapon. They thought that was the best solution. Well, let me tell you this: it's not the best solution because somebody was killed by your negligence. Fantabillity should still be alive today, and we should all keep her name alive and her memory alive. We shall all be saying her name. We shall all be protesting and walking the streets and saying her name each and every day, just like when an adult is killed by police, right? And there'd be so much outcry and protesting. There should have been protesting and outcry about this. There should be people going to courthouses demanding that those officers get a higher penalty. They should be outside these courthouses each and every trial date, each and every day until these officers get time for what they did. I'm gonna hold this phone up. Sorry for the lightning. And I'm gonna say a message. I want to say this. Fantabillity. Hold on. Wait a second. Fantabillity. I want to say that you did not deserve to be shot and killed the way that you were shot and killed. You deserve to grow up and become something great in life. 3 uneducated officers had no right to be shooting, first of all, 25 times and ultimately taking your life. You mean everything. You mean everything to the world, your family, the community. You mean everything worldwide. And the fact that these officers had so much power to use their service weapons, they did not care about anybody around them. But we cannot allow your name and your spirit to go in vain. You are and will always be a queen in life. You are still a queen. Those officers are going to pay for what they did to you. And they're going to have to answer what they did to you. We will not stop until we get justice for you, because you deserve justice for the ignorance that these cops did to you. So I count of 3, we're going to say justice preventability. One, two, three. Justice, preventability. Thank you guys so much for watching this particular story. All right. And for in this particular story, to preventability's family, I hope you get justice. I hope that you know what I'm saying, I hope that you get the justice that you deserve and held these officers to a high recommended accountability for their actions. They chose to put everybody's lives in danger. They chose to kill your child by shooting 25 times. And they chose to be reckless that day, and they're going to have to pay for what they did. So, RIP to preventability, and you're gone, but you're never forgotten. And your name will always live on and on and on. We're on to our next story. Let's see. It was it. Atlanta, Texas now. All right. Atlanta parents are charged with murder and death of the 7-week-old girl. Okay. The parents of a 7-week-old have been charged with murder after an autopsy determined the newborn died from inflicted trauma. Atlanta police said Monday. On August 10th, officers uh, Atlanta parents are charged with infant daughter's murder. The parents of a child found dead by Atlanta police now face murder charges. Officials say on August 10th, officers were called to a home on the 2200 block of Beecher Road after reports of an unresponsive infant. Medics rushed the baby girl to a nearby hospital where it was pronounced dead. After investigation, officials say they learned that the child's injuries were consistent with inflicted trauma and secured arrest warrants for both the mother and father. On August 18th, officers arrested 23-year-old Zion Bird and 20-year-old Deshaun Turner and charged them with murder and cruelty to children for the death of the child. May the baby who was denied its full life rest in eternal peace, an APD spokesman said in a statement. Bird and Turner are both in custody at the Fulton County Jail. Here is the picture of the father. And here is the picture of the mother. Now, I always talk about this. It's never a good thing to have children at a young age. They're young with two children. And one of the children, which is also a girl who's 1 year old, I believe was taken by, if I'm not mistaken, was taken to protective custody, protective custody. And then the 7-month-old infant was killed by them. That's the thing. You have two children at 20 and 23 years old. Again, number one, you're too young to be having children. Number two, unresponsible. Unresponsible. You're not suitable to be parents if this is the way you handle parenting your children. I don't. What would you think would have happened? Would you think that y'all was going to get away with killing your child? Because in America, in America there are statutes for killing children, and what it is that you can be charged with felony murder, or you can be charged with murder, which you can be sentenced to life imprisonment, or you can be sentenced to death. Now, excuse me. Now again, when I was watching the body cam video on ALC podcast channel, shout out to him earlier today. It seems like they were smoking a cigarette before they were put in the police was searched and they put in the but they was already in handcuffs smoking a cigarette. I'm sorry, I would never give these two individuals cigarettes to smoke after they got done from killing their child. I'm sorry, you don't deserve to smoke. And again, this is why it's important to do background checks. Okay, know who you are dealing with, sleeping with, and having children with, because not everybody is suitable. Okay, not everybody are suitable to be parents. They tortured and killed the child, and the fact that the father asked for his attorney and the mother of the children wanted to talk to detectives. You know, your attorney perhaps is not the one that's going to convict you at the end of the day and throw the buck at you. It's going to be the judge. So the proper thing to do is talk to investigators to determine why this happened. Because a lot of time you have murderers who do not want to speak to prosecutors. They go to the jail, and then after they get done being sentenced, then they want to admit their guilt and write it down and send it to the court. Now, The thing is this. I would like to know what made them so angry to the point where they snapped and killed the child. Because if he is that angry, then something is completely wrong for you to snap and kill a child. And it just is what it is. I'm gonna show you news video, and I'm gonna give them show news video. Then we'll move on to our next story. Você deixou o seu país, mas com Arm Medley você pode facilmente enviar dinheiro ao Brasil com parents of a child found dead by Atlanta police now face murder charges. APD released body camera footage of officers serving the warrant at a home on Beecher Road in southwest Atlanta. Police arrested Zion Bird and Deshaun Turner on murder and cruelty to children charges. Officers found their child unresponsive earlier this month at the home. Detectives say the child had injuries consistent with trauma being inflicted. The parents are now in the Fulton County Jail. One person made time. Okay. Parents of a child found dead by Atlanta. Now, not only that they're charged with murder, but they're also charged with cruelty to children, which means that they've been abusing their children, and then they ultimately killed one of the children. Again, and I want to again shout out to FC Podcast for this. Hashtag babies for benefits. Hashtag when you date thugs, you date death. You date thugs, you date death. This is the thing. Also, let's not forget that they put up a GoFundMe, but it was taken down. And I'm going to tell you what's sad about GoFundMes. What's sad about GoFundMes is that if people could put up GoFundMes for X amount of money for the children who are no longer here, then they could be putting up GoFundMes for the children who are still here that can use the money for college, maybe a career, maybe learn how to drive, learn how to cook, learn how to do different things in the world. But by putting up GoFundMes for children who are killed because you want the money, so you can do whatever you want to do with that money and not put it towards what it really was put up for, lets me know that you want the money for yourself. I'm sorry. I don't think you really wanted that money for funeral costs. I think that the money was going to be for them to share and go out and do whatever with, and you gotta be careful when you know what I'm saying, throw money out on these GoFundMes, even though you are saddened by these stories. You gotta do your background, do your research. You don't know it could be a scam. You may not know. But a lot of time, people put up GoFundMe, so when they reach the goal or go over the goal of the GoFundMe, they could split half, keep half of the actual cost, but then the other half goes towards them. So gotta be careful. Like, comment, subscribe. Justice for baby Journey, that was her name, who was 7 months old. So, and RIP to baby Journey. And to those two individuals, they need life imprisonment. And they need to not ever recreate and have children again. My channel is to advocate for those who can't advocate for themselves. On to our next story. Also, the story was released a couple days ago. I was going to do the story, but I wanted to just an update to before I did it. 3-year-old boy dies days after his aunt allegedly pushed him into Lake Michigan from Navy Pier family. So Victoria Morano, which is the aunt, is ordered held without bond. Charge could be upgraded. A 3-year boy was allegedly pushed into Lake Michigan at Chicago's Navy Pier Monday has passed away, according to members of the family. Josiah Brown passed away Sunday at 10:16 a.m. after his aunt allegedly pushed the boy into the water Monday. Victoria Moreno, 34, was arrested Monday in the 700 block of East Grand Avenue. Chicago police said Wednesday morning. Morano did not attempt to rescue the boy, CPD said. She appeared in bond court Wednesday afternoon, where a judge denied her bond. Her next court appearance is scheduled for Friday. According to prosecutors, the 3-year-old was also with Morano during a previous incident a week earlier in which she allegedly stole the family's car and took her two nieces and nephew to Navy Pier, but the older niece called relatives to get them. Morano has additionally been ordered to have no contact with the family. His family was around the child's bedside on Tuesday at Louis Children's Hospital. They asked him for privacy, and his grandfather, Dan Brown, said they need a lot of prayer now. Everybody's prayer helps, Brown said. God makes things happen. This is what we are banking on right now. Police said the child went tumbling several feet into the lake, nearly drowning about 1 p.m. Monday afternoon near the north end of Navy Pier. He was walking with his aunt on the path next to the lake before going into the water. Divers with the Chicago Fire Department put the child to dry land before rushing him to the hospital and for cardiac arrest. Brown described his grandson as just bundle of joy, who is full of energy and wants to do everything and love his dad. Chicago takes an L. I'm sorry, aunt or not, you can't allow your children to just go in everybody without doing a background check. This woman sounds delusional, acts delusional, and the fact that she threw a child, her nephew, over a pier into the lake is dumb. What do you think was going to happen? Do you think he was going to walk away and not be charged? You gotta be hoping that you don't. First of all, she's definitely getting charges upgraded, and I'm gonna tell you why. Not only because the child died, but because there's so much evidence that she can't even be charged with aggravated assault. If she was charged with assault, then it'd be ugly to aggravated assault. She's looking at several felony charges. She's looking at life imprisonment, and rightfully so. A 3-year-old should never been thrown at all over a pier into a lake. This was premeditated. She planned this out, and with the ignorance of a human being she was, and threw the child over the pier. Some people don't need to be around children. And Victoria Moreno is one of them. She's a danger to children, and when she get to prison, she better hope she survive and make it in prison, because she's gonna be killed in prison. They're gonna kill her in prison. She ain't gonna make it. Put up protective custody all you want. She still ain't gonna make it. Because at the end of the day, if you kill a child and you go to prison, good luck. All I'm saying is good luck. Because you're facing your own punishment within the punishment that you are facing. So if they decide to give you life in prison, you're going to prison and you're ultimately going to get the death penalty by these inmates. They're going to kill you. So good luck. On to our next story. And to Josiah Brown. The 3-year-old who was pushed from the pier by his ignorant aunt, may you rest in peace. You deserve you didn't deserve that. And to the aunt, you're gonna get yours in prison each and every day. Our next story is, let's see, let me look it up. Yes. Texas takes an L. We on our fourth story out of nine. 4 out of 9. Man abandons his 9-month-old baby with broken leg and shed in Livingston, steals truck. Bond is set at $200,000. Really sad. Livingston, Texas takes an L. A man was arrested and charged after police said he left his 9-month-old baby in a shed and took off in a stolen vehicle in Livingston Saturday. Authorities said Clifford Jason Guys, 43 of Splendor, was charged with injury to a child, abandoning, injuring a child. He was booked into the Polk County Jail and is being held on $200,000 bond. According to the Livingston Police Department, Guys left the child in the shed of a home around 3 a.m. on Youngs Lane near 59 and FM 1998 before selling a green pickup truck. At about 6 a.m., a woman named Catherine McLean told police she was awakened by the sound of a loud truck outside of the home. She shared with her daughter and husband. Her daughter reportedly looked outside and they discovered the neighbor's truck had been stolen. Police said the woman's husband was able to pull security video from several of the cameras protecting the property and saw a man with a beard and his underwear walk next door, get in the truck, and drive off. As McLean's husband looked at the video just after 3 a.m., Mark investigators said he realized the man had first gone to the vehicles in the yard and attempted to break into them. Livingston PD reportedly looked at the video, attempted to locate the pickup truck, and attempted to left fingerprints from several vehicles. They also discovered some blood on the vehicles. Investigators said police were there. There was littered that San Jacinto County had located the vehicle and Gaines was behind the wheel, investigators said. Investigators said about 3 hours later, the homeowner said their dogs began barking at the shed. That's when the husband and wife discovered the 9-month-old baby girl and called 911, investigators said. I was freaking out. I looked down and this little baby was just looking up at me. They gave me permission to pick her up and wrap her in a towel and ended up holding her, making sure she was okay and safe. Traumatic experience, Catherine said. Authorities said the baby was flown to Texas Children's Hospital and had a broken femur. They had to be pinned. She's reportedly doing fine and expected to recover from her injuries. Authorities said they are trying to figure out why Gaines, who police said is reportedly the baby's father, was out of jail September 16th. Montgomery County Precinct 4 Constable arrested Gaines for a blue warrant given if a parolee in Texas had violated parole issued by the Texas Board of Pardons and Parole. He was then booked into the Montgomery County Jail. Gaines has reportedly been arrested several times over the years for drugs and assault charges. Can I just say how ignorant and how damn stupid this father is? Secondly, why would you be... First of all, you abused your child, then took it to somebody else's house and put them in their shed, then stole vehicles, bloodied them up. Like, if it was up to me and I was a judge, he would have never seen light again. He's a dangerous person. He needs to stay in prison where he belongs. Secondly, to the mother, I'm sorry, but I gotta say this to the mother, to the biological mother of the child. Ma'am, you need to do a thorough background check to who you having children with and how you're in a relationship with. This man ain't good for you. Look what he did to your child. He abused your child. He then put your child in a shack at somebody else's house, stole vehicles, previously been arrested for drug and assault charges. And this is the guy you want to spend the rest of your life with? Absolutely not. This person is going to get